Welcome to Dark Rule Stories, where every rule exists for a reason. Break it and face what should never be found. The rule came up the first evening I noticed the well. It sat behind my house, half hidden by a lean of neem trees and a sagging stone wall I hadn't paid much attention to before. I'd moved back to this place after years away, thinking the quiet would help me sleep. The neighborhood hadn't changed much. Same narrow road, same distant calls of vendors, same hum of insects once the sun dipped low. I was standing outside with a cup of tea when Mrs. Rafiq from next door leaned over the fence. "You've seen the well, yes?" she asked casually. "I think so," I said. "The old one at the back?" She nodded, then looked past me toward it. "There's a rule about it." I waited for the rest. It didn't come. "What kind of rule?" I asked. She pursed her lips as if measuring how much to say. "Just don't use it." "For water?" I asked. "It looks abandoned anyway." "For anything," she said. Her voice stayed calm, but her fingers tightened around the fence wire, especially after dark. I laughed softly, expecting a smile in return. She didn't smile. "Is it unsafe?" I asked. "Collapsed stones? Snakes?" She shook her head once. "If you need water, the tap works fine. That's all you need to know." Then she wished me good night and went inside, leaving me alone with the fading light and the sound of my own breathing. Later, from my bedroom window, I could just see the well's round mouth. No cover, no rope, just a black circle swallowing the last of the daylight. I told myself it was nothing, just another village superstition passed down without reason. Still, when the wind shifted, I thought I heard something rise from that darkness. Not a voice, more like someone waiting to speak. Sleep didn't come easily that night. Every time I closed my eyes, the image of the well returned, its mouth open, patient. I kept telling myself it was just an old structure, a relic from before pipelines and electric pumps. Still, I avoided looking out the window. Sometime past midnight, a sound pulled me awake, not loud, careful, like stone brushing stone. I sat up in bed listening. The house was otherwise silent, no traffic, no voices, just that faint scrape, repeating, steady enough to suggest intention. I moved to the window despite myself. Moonlight washed the yard in pale gray. The neem leaves stirred. The well was exactly where it had been until I noticed the rope. It hadn't been there before. A thick, coarse rope now lay coiled at the edge, one end trailing into the darkness. I was certain of it. I would have noticed something like that earlier. The scraping sound came again. This time, clearer. Someone was pulling the rope. "Hello?" I called out, my voice thinner than I expected. The sound stopped instantly. I waited, heart hammering, expecting a reply or footsteps running away. Nothing happened. The rope stayed still, half swallowed by the well. The next morning, I asked Mrs. Rafiq about it. "A rope?" she repeated, her hand pausing mid-motion as she watered her plants. "No, there's never been a rope. I saw it last night," I said. "Someone was there." She finally looked at me, really looked. "Did you speak to it?" "To who?" She swallowed. "The well." A chill crept up my spine. "No, of course not." Her shoulders relaxed slightly, but her eyes stayed wary. "Good. Some people hear things and think the well is calling them. It isn't." "Then what is it?" I asked. She turned back to her plants. "That's the part no one explains." That evening, as the light faded again, I stood at the back door, staring toward the trees. The rope was gone, but deep inside the well something shifted, as if disappointed. I tried to ignore the well after that. Days passed. I kept busy cleaning rooms that didn't need it, fixing a loose hinge, listening to the radio louder than necessary. In daylight, the yard felt harmless. The well was just stone and shadow, ordinary. It was the sounds that refused to stay ordinary. They started just after sunset. At first it was subtle, a faint echo, like breath moving through a narrow space. I told myself it was wind slipping past the stones, But the wind didn't pause when I paused. The sound did. One evening as I locked the back door, I heard it clearly. My name, not spoken, shaped. As if someone unfamiliar with language was trying to copy the idea of my voice. I froze, keys still in my hand. "No," I said quietly, unsure why I answered at all. The sound came again, closer somehow, though nothing had moved. "Come, here." I stepped back into the house and shut the door harder than needed. The bolts slid into place with a sharp click that felt final. The next day I found Mr. Kamal sitting outside his house down the lane repairing a broken chair. He'd lived here longer than anyone. "There's something wrong with the well," I said, keeping my voice low. He didn't look up. "It still stands, doesn't it?" "That's not what I mean. It's active." That made him pause. He sighed and finally met my eyes. "You noticed it then. Everyone knows there's a rule," I said. "No one knows why." He tightened a screw too hard. The wood creaked. "The rule exists because once people asked why." I waited. They leaned over. He continued. "They listened. And the well learned them." "Learned what?" "How to sound like someone you trust," he said. "How to make you step closer without pushing." That night I dreamed I was standing at the edge, looking down. The darkness below reflected my face, but it smiled a moment before I did. I woke with the taste of damp stone in my mouth. Outside, something tugged gently at a rope that should not have been there. I didn't wait for night to face it. Just before sunset, when the sky still held color and the call to prayer drifted faintly through the air, I walked into the yard. The well waited in its usual place, quiet, almost modest. The rope lay coiled at the edge again, as if it had always belonged there. I stayed several steps back. "I'm not coming closer," I said, my voice steady despite the tightness in my chest. The well was silent. For a moment, I thought that was the end of it, that maybe acknowledging it was enough. Then the rope shifted, sliding a few inches toward me. "You already are," it said in my own voice. "Not a copy this time. Perfect." I took another step back. My heel struck a loose stone. Panic flared. "People listen to you," I said. "That's the trick." A pause. Then softly, "People leave." The words landed heavier than a threat. Images filled my mind. Empty houses, forgotten names, voices fading from memory. The well didn't want bodies. It wanted presence, attention, someone to stay. "I won't," I said. "You don't get to learn me." The rope stilled. The air felt tense, stretched thin. For the first time, the voice faltered. "Then don't look." I didn't. I turned my back and walked away, every instinct screaming that something would grab me, pull me back. Nothing did. When I reached the door, I went inside and locked it, hands shaking. The next morning, the well was different. A heavy stone cover sealed its mouth, weathered and old, as if it had always been there. No rope, no sound, just stone. Mrs. Rafiq caught my eye over the fence and gave a small, relieved nod. The rule still exists. It always will. Now at least I understand why no one explains it. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. And if you carry a story you want told, email me at darkrulestories@gmail.com.